Over the weekend, nagpasabog yung 3 nuclear sites, supposedly. Do you think that was a preemptive measure also, like what Israel did to Iran? Should they have joined the fray this early, or should they have taken a more diplomatic approach? Or tama rin, yung kumbaga, parang sa pagkaintindi ko, parang ninip in the bud na nila kesa sa lumala.
Kasi I think, no, may although sinideny ng both sides, I think there's a coordination, no? Kasi ang ginawa una talaga ng Israel, talagang dinigrade niya yung air defense system ng Iran. Pero of course, may limitation din yung Israel. Wala silang bunker-busting bombs. And of course, wala rin silang delivery system para doon sa bunker-busting bomb, no? Amerika lang yung may bunker-busting bomb na talagang pumapasok sa loob ng lupa bago siya talaga sumabog sa loob ng bunker. And of course, kailangan mo rin ng delivery system doon. Ang Amerika lang ang meron, yung B-2 bombers. So after na dinigrade na ng Israel, then of course, everyone was expecting na babalik na sa negotiating table ang Iran. Although nakipag-usap ang Iran sa 3 European countries, I think Germany, France, and Britain, at the end, hindi rin umatras ang Iran. Sabi ng Iran, we will continue our uranium enrichment program. Kasi ayun yung demand ng Estados Unidos sa Israel na itigil mo na yung uranium enrichment program. At in-open mo na lahat yung nuclear facilities mo sa International Atomic Energy Commission na ayaw ng Iran. So nung nakita ni Donald Trump na walang bilunga yung negotiation ng Iran with the 3 European countries, then he had to make a hard choice. Pero tignan mo rin yung implication nito, no? Bakit talaga decisive yung action ni Trump? Pinapakita rin ni Trump ng Estados Unidos kung pwede namin po gawin sa Iran na isang regional power, pwede namin gawin to sa iba pang bansa na pwedeng mag-threaten sa aming mga allies at mga security partners. Kaya kita nyo, medyo tumihimik din yung North Korea. Ewan ko yung reaction ng China.
So
ito yung talagang pinapakita ni Trump. He's a classic, sorry to use the term, he's a classic SOB.
Which is?
He will do whatever is necessary if he thinks it has to do it. This is something that not the Obama administration, nor even yung first Trump administration, although noong time niya yun, yung national security advisor niya was a really hardliner pagdating sa si John Bolton. Hindi rin nila ginawa. Kay Joe Biden, hindi rin ginawa. He was the one who basically had the guts to basically push through. And of course, Israel has basically obliterated yung air defense system ng Iran.
So tingin mo ba, Professor, makakabalik pa sa diplomatic table itong mga parties na ito? Ang sinasabi ng ibang mga international politics na mga professor sources, sabi ganun, wala na, hindi na, they're not going to trust Donald Trump anymore because he says one thing and does another. Because nga, nagulat tayo, sabi niya, within 2 weeks, di ba, anuhin natin.
That's part of statecraft. That's part of statecraft. Why should I would telegraph to you what I intend to do, right?
So
that's statecraft. That's very naive of you to think that America and the United States would act like a gentleman or an angel.
Kasi sabi nila, trust kasi daw is a very important element. Kapag ikaw ay, you're in the middle of diplomatic talks, trust. Wala na daw trust kay Donald Trump.
They understand Machiavelli. It's better to be feared than loved.
It's better to be feared than loved. Pag ikaw isang world leader.
Action speaks louder than voice. And of course, and there, diplomacy without the military capability is just like conducting music without the instruments.
Pero,
you cannot separate diplomacy from the military capability and the use of force. It's not naive to think that diplomacy will solve everything, and diplomacy could function could perform its role all by itself. Diplomacy should always be backed with the military capability. It is the iron fist that is covered by the velvet glove of diplomacy. So that's so naive for them to think that diplomacy would solve everything.
Oo. So Professor, ito the sad part is civilians are caught in the crossfire, 'di ba? Sa Tel Aviv at saka sa outside Tel Aviv at saka sa Tehran. Can you shed light more on that Iron Dome? Kasi nga akala natin protektado yung mga Israelis 'di ba? Dahil I don't know if that Iron Dome is a physical Iron Dome or how does it work, but we hear of civilians who are dying, because nga pag nagpapasabog ang Iran, sila po yung natatamaan, tsaka residences talaga ang target. Paano po yun? How can they protect themselves? Aside from the shelter...
May limits din yung Iron Dome
Oo.
Parang yan katulad ng Patriot missile, anti-ballistic system, Probably kung 5 missiles lang yung tinira sa'yo, your system could protect you. Pero kung kasi talagang tinira ka, sabihin natin ng 50 missiles all at the same time, and of course claim pa ng Iran, which has to be proven, yung ibang mga missiles na pinakawala niya, hypersonic, na hindi mo talagang pwede ma-prevent, So all system has of course its limitation.
Okay.
So ayun ang pinakita na pwede mo talagang isaturate ng missiles yung system, yung Golden Dome, and it will basically be pushed to its limits. Pero at the same time, pag ginamit mo naman lahat yung mga missiles mo, mauubusan ka. Ngayon, wala nang panira ngayon ng Iran.
Okay. Nauubos na, oo.
Professor, yung babala naman ng Iran na they can activate itong sleeper cells nila sa Estados Unidos. It just takes one determined, terrorist to strap on, let's say, a bomb and then wreak havoc, in let's say a populated area in the US. So yan ba tingin mo makatotohanan yung threat? Is it an empty threat?
They can do it, but what damage can they do? At the end of the day, can they really force the US government to basically accede to their will? So it has its limits. Terrorism, sporadic acts of terrorism have their limitations. They could kill a number of civilians, but at the end of the day, what would really matter is, of course, is your conventional military capabilities.
Ito, Professor, my last question. Siyempre, nagagalit yung ibang mga kongresista at mga senador sa Amerika kasi nga parang Donald Trump took it upon himself. Ito sa unilateral decision to bomb Iran. Do you think, is it really necessary for a congressional hearing, or can the President of the United States unilaterally decide to bomb any country of his choice?
Meron kasing ang Amerika, meron 1973 War Powers Act. The US President has, of course, the privilege of using force, deploying force, without consulting Congress. But I think 30 days after this, he would have to inform Congress that he has used force against Iran.
Okay.
War Powers Act of 1973.
War, po yun?
Yes.
What is it?
War Powers Act.
War Powers Act.
This was a law that was passed by the U.S. Congress after the Vietnam War. Kasi, the Vietnam War was fought by the United States from 1965 to 1973 simply on the basis of the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution na pinas ng U.S. Congress 1965. So after ng Vietnam War, sabi ng Congress, well, we have to allow the president certain leeway to use force, but he had to inform Congress 30 days after he had used force. The 1973 War Powers Act. So ayan din yung kine-question palagi ng mga ibang kababayan natin regarding sa 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty na dapat pang mag-declare ng gera ang US Congress. No, the US Congress has not declared war since 1941.
Okay.
In case if the United States President or the US government has used force, it's always a matter of an executive decision.
Let's get together, Sunday 25, Sunday 25.